Enchanted is a ballsy film, to an extent. Some may see it as a run-of-the-mill Disney princess movie, but I see it as so much more. First and foremost, this is a fish-out-of-water story that takes on a new life beyond overused princess tropes. The movie uses expectations in this regard to its advantage, making references to the classics while differentiating its own story where needed. But truly, the magnitude of the risks this movie is willing to take is seen when creativity defies the overly corporate nature of modern Disney. First off, the opening of the film utilizes old-school 2D animation to pay homage to the classical Disney animated movies. Even the aspect ratio changes to a more old-school format. Not to mention the fact that this, for the most part, live-action movie has an animated opening and various scenes in the style throughout. In knowing that some, in this case close-minded people, will not see animated movies no matter the circumstance, advertising this live-action movie with an unapologetic 8-minute animated opening is incredible. That's more than enough time for your uninformed live-action moviegoer to walk out and demand a refund. Now you might be saying that not many adults are attending a children's movie with high expectations of their favorite real-life stars, and I'll give you that. However, when it comes to Grey's Anatomy fans, I don't doubt some of them wouldn't see any movie without the promise of Derek's gorgeous face in live action. A notable lack of Patrick Dempsey, or on-screen actors at all for that matter, would indeed be unsettling to these folks. However, once the diegetic transformation to live action takes place, it becomes clear that this movie is a sort of modern-day Wizard of Oz. It was more of a commentary on the history of black and white films and entering a new age of color. Similarly, Enchanted serves as a Disney retrospective, observing their animated beginnings and almost predicting their live-action obsession. If nothing else, you can appreciate that this movie made its animated version and live-action remake all in one. Notably, though, whereas Dorothy went to the fantastical Oz, in this movie, the fantastical comes to us, or more specifically, the New York resident, Robert, lives an ironic life full of engagement to his fiancée while employed as a divorce attorney and being a loving father despite not really knowing what his daughter wants. His daughter runs away from the notion of female role model history books and grown-up girl bonding time, literally heading towards the princess on a sparkling castle billboard. Giselle is innocent and clueless during her time in New York, which fits her character and provides some pretty solid comedy.
What about taking Morgan to school, Some grown-up girl bonding time.
What, so you can have some grown-up girl bonding time?
The film plays with ridiculous concepts like true love's kiss, love at first sight, getting married after a day, etc. However, the conclusion with Giselle and Robert together after little more than a few days complicates the notion that true love's kiss is only in fairy tales. Robert's motivation takes on a new meaning when revisiting this when older. As a child, you might not understand what's wrong with this happening to an engaged man in front of his fiancée. But as an adult, when Robert asks his daughter to sleep in his room tonight, we know it provides both protection for his daughter from the stranger on the couch, as well as a witness for Robert and protection against false accusations from his fiancée. The complicated relationships in this movie don't work out as pitched initially, but adapt and change with character growth. The marriage between Edward and Nancy feels the most rushed and like a forced rebound for both of them, yet it's not impossible and leads to a more happy ending for all the characters. Giselle pulls her fictional concepts into real life, which culminate in a stunning cleanup scene that mimics Cinderella but in a realistic New York setting. The use of practical effects and CGI leaves the sequence looking stunning a full 13 years later. Giselle's summoning of the animals takes place in the exact way you would hope, with the use of the music of this movie is on par with the classical Disney era, in my opinion. The anthem of True Love's Kiss becomes Edward's motto and a bit overused as such, but in its full glory, the song is fully reminiscent of Disney firing on all cylinders.
I've been dreaming.
Though it's not until we reach That's How You Know when we see the full musical potential this movie can pull off. It starts as a sort of parody of random musical numbers with everyone in on the gag except Robert, who views it through a lens of cynicism until finally opening up towards the end. An array of cultures, ages, and vocal performances contribute to this masterpiece, which helps define Giselle's relationship with Robert going forward. Their talk of dates and having proof that you love your partner causes each of them to re-examine what they thought they knew in their romantic lives. Robert begins to pick up some of Giselle's giddy optimism and excitement for life, dancing and sending flowers, while Giselle learns some new concepts from him, such as anger, voicing aloud the existence of this new emotion for her.
I'm angry.
Becoming more similar, Robert and Giselle also become closer to one another. And it's only at this point, when the line is blurred between fantastical and realistic traits of our characters, that we see a unique establishing shot of New York. Previously, the gross, gritty, and rude New York has been used to contrast Giselle's home and Alasia. Now, beautiful blue and orange shine on New York, depicting it more artfully than realistically. The environment in this way reflects the change in our characters. However, the symbiotic relationship between character and environment extends to impressive technical achievements as well. The way CG characters interact with their environment looks pretty realistic, especially the transition from a real apple to a drawn one. A film that tackles the complexities of real life must know the importance of realistic-looking computer-generated image interaction, and so accomplishes its goal flawlessly. Giselle and Robert continue becoming more like one another until the climax at the ball, where she arrives in a designer dress and he is dressed as a prince. Their lives have changed so much that their roles switch entirely, emphasized by the costume department. However, the happy ending isn't tied up in a bow, as the evil queen Narcissa plots against our characters. This woman commits 2 crimes. 1, trying to kill Giselle.
Girl.
And 2, making this licking motion with her tongue in the form of an elderly lady. And so, tensions rise, providing us with this incredible visual of a poison apple rolling to Robert's feet before he comes to the rescue. The damsel in distress story is called out by name and flipped on its head, as Robert is captured and must be rescued by Giselle. Gender expectations aside, this take on an older concept is refreshing and exciting. I doubt that in the role of the hero, Robert would have been able to contribute that much anyway. The animal sidekick Pip helps defeat the evil dragon with a callback to the opening scene, flinging an ogre off a tree branch after weighing it down himself. Narcissa, who had previously weaponized water to walk through it and use it as a gateway to pass off poisonous apples to her henchmen, now slips off the tower in pouring rain. And then, Giselle catches Robert after she had been caught numerous times before. She now has a newfound responsibility and love for reality, including Robert. And to think, the best movie that references older Disney work while still becoming its own identity is not on Disney+. I hope for Enchanted to one day reach the Disney Plus catalog, but for now, we have no official word on its absence or whether to expect it. But one thing is for sure, Enchanted will not be silenced without a fight. Thanks for watching.
Okay, I created a note. Sequel idea. Giselle goes in the well 6 years earlier. Title: 9/11 Enchanted.